Many people believe that only talented individuals succeed in life, while others are destined to fail. However, let me ask you a question. Is it possible to become successful without talent? The answer is yes. What matters most is perseverance. Talent alone is insufficient. Just as important is how we respond to setbacks. Are we prone to giving up at the first sign of difficulty? Or do we possess the determination to keep trying even in the face of failure? Remember, friends, success often favors the persistent rather than the gifted. Today, I'd like to share with you a tale of a young man who dared to pursue his dreams despite his lack of talent and who triumphed over all odds in the picturesque town of Riverdale, nestled amidst rolling hills and vibrant fields. There existed a close-knit community where everyone knew everyone else's business. It was a place where life moved at a leisurely pace, undisturbed by the chaos of the outside world. Here, in this tranquil town, there lived a boy named Ethan. He was a bright and cheerful 15-year-old lad who dreamed of bigger things in life. However, Ethan had a problem. He was not particularly gifted in any area. He wasn't exceptionally smart, nor was he physically strong or athletic. In fact, he was somewhat clumsy and uncoordinated, which often resulted in him being the laughing stock of his peers. But Ethan had one irreplaceable quality, a strong will and determination. Despite his limitations, Ethan had big dreams. He longed to break free from the confines of his small town and make something of himself. He wanted to explore the world, experience new things, and leave his mark on it. However, the road to success was never easy, especially for someone like Ethan who lacked natural talent. One day, an event occurred that shook the entire town. Principal Thompson, the beloved leader of Riverdale High School, made an important announcement during the morning assembly. "Our school will host its first inter-school triathlon," he declared. "The winner will receive a full scholarship to any university they wish to attend." News of the triathlon spread like wildfire through the town. For many students, the prospect of winning such a scholarship was a golden opportunity. It was a chance to escape the confines of their small town and pursue higher education elsewhere. Ethan, too, was excited, but for him, it was more than just a chance at a scholarship. It was a chance to prove himself, to show everyone what he was capable of. As the day of the triathlon approached, excitement and anticipation filled the air. Students from neighboring towns and cities flocked to Riverdale High, eager to compete. Among them were the star athletes and swimming prodigies who had been training for such events. Then there was Ethan. He stood out not because of his skills, but because of his underdog status. The boy who could neither swim nor cycle properly. Everyone underestimated him, including his own friends. "Are you sure about this?" Ethan asked his best friend, Kevin, one evening. "Don't you think you're in too deep? These other kids are serious contenders. They've been training for this." "I know," Kevin replied. Ethan, his gaze fixed on the ground. "But I have to try. I have to prove to myself that I can do something extraordinary." Kevin sighed. He knew Ethan's determination, once it took hold, was impossible to shake off. So instead of trying to talk him out of it, he offered his support. "Okay," he said, "if you're going to do this, I'm with you all the way. But don't blame me when you come in last." Ethan smiled, grateful for his friend's loyalty. And so, the day of the triathlon dawned, bright and beautiful, promising a day of intense competition and high spirits. As the students lined up at the starting point, their faces reflecting a mix of nervousness and excitement, Ethan stood a little apart, quietly determined. The starting whistle blew, sending a surge of energy through the crowd. The athletes surged forward, eager to make the best start. Ethan, with his usual awkwardness, stumbled a bit, but quickly found his rhythm. He knew he couldn't compete with the speed of the other runners, but he had something they didn't, an indomitable spirit. On the cycling portion, Ethan struggled, his legs burning with effort as he navigated the hilly terrain. Yet he didn't falter. Each time he felt like giving up, he remembered the cheers of the crowd, remembering his promise to himself. At the swimming stage, the doubts and fears hit Ethan hard. The vast pool seemed like an insurmountable challenge, his earlier struggles with the water flashing before his eyes. But as he dove in, A sense of calm washed over him. In the water, he found a rhythm that was less about speed and more about endurance. Hours later, the results were in, and as expected, Ethan didn't win. In fact, he came in last. But here's what people noticed. He didn't quit. While some of the more fancied participants had dropped out midway, Ethan had persevered. The crowd erupted in applause as Ethan crossed the line. Not because he was in first place, but because he had shown an indomitable spirit, refusing to give up until the very end. Later, when the winners were being announced, Principal Thompson made an unexpected announcement. "I understand why some of you are surprised by today's results," he said, his voice echoing in the stunned silence. "But let me tell you, success isn't always about who is the fastest or the strongest. Sometimes it's about who shows the most perseverance, who doesn't give up in the face of adversity." He turned his gaze towards Ethan. "Ethan, you didn't win this triathlon, but you've won something far more valuable. The respect of your peers and the admiration of everyone here." Ethan blushed, overwhelmed by the unexpected praise. In the days following the triathlon, Ethan's life underwent a remarkable transformation. Although he didn't win the scholarship, he received something even more precious, recognition of his efforts, and an outpouring of support from the town folks. Mrs. Peterson, who owned the local bakery, surprised him with a cake. Mr. Williams, the owner of the Riverdale Cycles, offered him free cycling lessons. And Coach Harris, the retired but renowned athletics coach, invited him to train under him. Moreover, the town council, moved by his spirit, decided to award him a special scholarship fund. As for his academic performance, it improved significantly. Inspired by the belief shown in him by the townspeople, he studied harder, participated more in class, and eventually became one of the top students in his school. Ethan's story became a beacon of hope and inspiration for the people of Riverdale. He proved that one didn't need to be the fastest or the strongest to succeed. All they needed was the courage to try, the will to persevere, and the belief in oneself. One evening, as Ethan sat with his friends sharing stories about his day, Kevin nudged him playfully. "So when are you going to start training for the next triathlon?" "Defend your title as the most determined participants," he said with a grin. Ethan laughed, but there was a hint of seriousness in his eyes. "I've learned that, no matter what I do, I shouldn't expect to win every time," he said thoughtfully. "But I also learned that I should never, ever give up." His friends, nodding in agreement, understood that beneath Ethan's lighthearted demeanor, there was a young man who had discovered a strength within himself that he never knew existed. From that day on, Ethan continued to excel not just in academics, but in every aspect of his life. He realized that success wasn't just about winning, it was about participating, improving, and most importantly, never giving up. He remained the same kind, cheerful boy, but now he carried himself a little differently. His shoulders squared, his eyes brighter, his smile wider. He had discovered a truth that resonated with him deeply, a truth that had the power to change his life forever. He realized that success wasn't defined by one's abilities or talents, but by one's attitude, determination, and resilience in the face of challenges. This realization became the cornerstone of his journey through life. Friends, this is a story about a boy who didn't let his lack of talent hinder his progress. With sheer determination, he showed us that we can achieve what we set our minds to. Life will undoubtedly throw challenges our way, but it's our response to these challenges that truly defines our success. Let Ethan's story inspire you to face your challenges head-on and persevere until the end. Remember, success doesn't favor the gifted, but rewards those who dare to try and never give up. Thank you for listening to this story. If it brought you joy, please don't forget to share it with your family and friends. Your support means the world to me, and I promise to return with more captivating stories soon. Until then, take care and goodbye.